What's up? Yo, 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 yo! Happy Friday, everyone. What's going on? Man, I just came on like I had all this energy, but I have had no energy today. It's been crazy. I don't know if I told you guys. Anyways, Kevin Townsend, K-Creative in the house for Bamboo Solutions. Going to be doing our SharePoint Weekly Newsletter Roundup today. So we're going to go over the latest news in the SharePoint space. But so I started keto this week. Oof. Pretty strict keto. I think I've had less than 60 grams of carbs this entire week, and my body is I don't know, it's kind of down today. But feel good. Guts all suck in, feeling great. Just lacking that mental clarity that I heard was supposed to be coming up on keto. So we'll see. See if I can mumble my way through a weekly newsletter roundup today, huh? Yeah, but thanks for jumping on, everybody. Here we are. What is this, last week of the month? No, we got one more week. One more webinar for the month of January. Actually, I don't know. Oh, I rescheduled one because I think it was the second. The webinar did not go so well. Technically speaking, it just kind of could not get it to connect. So I think I was going to make that one up on next Thursday. I might do that still. But anyways, had our webinar yesterday. Good webinar on bamboo services, if you're not familiar. It's on our YouTube channel, and go check that out. But, yep. Today, newsletter. Let's get on it. Let's see here. How do I do that? Click the thing and go to the place and do the other thing and stuff. That down. That up. Where's it at? I had to. There it is. All right, let's take a look. Right on. So if you don't know about the newsletter, every Friday, I try to do it every Friday anyways, but every Friday we send out our newsletter, and that's available to you. How do I do this again? I gotta do it in Twitch, right? Roundup. There's a link in chat right now. There it is. Okay. That link will get you registered for the newsletter, which we're going to go over here. You see it on the screen right now. I'm viewing it in the browser as opposed to my email, but this will come into your email box on Fridays at 8 a.m. Just so consistent. Really good stuff, man. If you're in the SharePoint space, Microsoft space, Office 365 space, you do anything around that and you're kind of interested in staying up to speed as to what's happening, what the cool stuff is doing, this is a great newsletter for you. This will keep you apprised. It'll bring you to work on Fridays and go to meetings talking about the newest, latest, and greatest. People are going to be like, whoa, Kevin knows his stuff. Didn't know that was coming up. Thanks, dude. Right? That kind of stuff. So anyways, top news stories. First and foremost, top news stories. Then we get into around the blogosphere and the SharePoint events that are coming up. Maybe in your area you can participate in. Top news stories are more posts coming from those commercial entities out in the world, those magazines, those bigger companies sending out some news. And then you got around the blogosphere, which is the blog posts coming from the MVPs, the enthusiasts, the evangelists, the people doing the nitty gritty every day in the SharePoint space, trying to share a little love with us. So here we go. Let's do it. Is your IT department getting in the way of SharePoint adoption? Let's see. I did not have a chance to review these posts before the stream today, so we're going over it together for the first time if you have also not had a chance. So I'm just going to do a little reading here. So IT department getting in the way of SharePoint adoption. See what they're saying here. It says his colleague Eric Eaton recently described a scenario that will likely sound familiar to both people in IT and the people using the tools IT provides. You got these long and indecipherable forms to fill out. You really don't know what's the reason these questions are being asked, what's it for, what you're supposed to put in there. There's nobody to ask questions up until you get to the end, and you get to the end, and then they tell you that you did it all wrong, and you have to start over. Okay. So, yeah, where's that going? Don't know. Turning the IT perspective around, IT teams tend to set up digital tools, he says, in a way that make things easier for them, not for the people using the tools. We read a post last week or the week before, and the argument was that SharePoint was built by IT teams and not actually for the people that need to use the tool. That was his argument, that SharePoint has been through so many iterations of technical solutions to a problem and not actually ever meeting the need. So anyways, here we're talking about how IT can put itself in employees' shoes, so you get the experience down, right? You learn from people who use the software, you get expert help. Make your IT work to serve the end user. Sure, you have configurations, policies, and processes in place that allows for more functional usage, but these policies have to support employees getting their work actually done. And that really is the bottom line, right? We as technologists, we spend a lot of our time loving the chase and the challenge of solving these business problems. We love it, right? We live it, we got a passion for it. And then users get to it and they're like, wow, that's really nice, and I see what you did there. You connected the thing and the thing, but man, that's it's kind of complicated, right? Or it's hard to change, or whatever, right? So anyways, I see more and more of these articles about how technology isn't always meeting the need. But, I'm not even sure that's where he was going with that post, but that's kind of what I got out of it. So here we go. Number 2, why you will love the SharePoint Online modern experience. Who doesn't, right? Who doesn't love the modern experience? The modern SharePoint experience is everything the old SharePoint wasn't. Beautiful, easy to use and design, dynamic, mobile friendly, fully integrated with the rest of Office 365. Boom. Top 10 reasons for considering the SharePoint modern experience. Here we go. All of Microsoft's investment and development is now in the SharePoint modern experience. Therefore, there will no longer be any updates pushed out to classic SharePoint. Got it? Group-connected productivity applications such as Microsoft Teams, Planner, Stream, Power Automate, Power Apps help your users collaborate across platforms with consistent permissions and fully integrated SharePoint functionality. Nice, nice, nice. You got the modern user interface experience. It's all responsive. You can do custom dev with the SharePoint framework, which is a totally cool tool for developing solutions in SharePoint in the JavaScript world. It's definitely where Bamboo is. Modern site architecture. Whoop. Got them hubs. Got cross-site hub navigation. You can share content now, like standard tooling out there in the world. We can do the share button and say, I want to share it with Joe, right? With all kinds of great enterprisey ways to restrict that as well. We got that look and feel across associated sites when we use hubs. And we can allow for easily moving sites between hubs with simple site setting. And now, I don't know if he's going to get to it here or not, but we got associated hubs. You got a hub, relate a whole bunch of site collections to it. Got this nice family of site collections that can roll content into that hub. Then you've also got associated hub off to the side. So the sister hub now has its own site collection family. And apparently stuff just kind of keeps rolling up, right? That's pretty cool. What else we got? Modern site designs. Whoop whoop. Ain't no custom master pages happening here, but we can at least do some CSS and some stuff. Modern page layouts are flexible, allowing you to add, remove, and change layout sections with a click of a button. Through that. Modern web parts can also be added, removed, and moved with ease. Most web parts offer several configurations, so you can display content to meet your needs. Yep. And then you got modern lists and libraries. Love them. Love. Especially the column formatting that we just talked about. I think I touched on it on Wednesday's live stream. But yeah, man, those that column formatting, man, that's good stuff. You can do whatever you want with that data. You can be like, yo, if it says this thing, we're going to make it underlined and purple and 22 font sized. Then we got the modern search experience, robust out of the box, extensive customization available, they're saying. And then expansive built-in modern integration. All those other apps and third-party services. Truth. I like it. Good post. I like that top 10. That's a good one. If you had to make a top 10, what would it be? What would be in your top 10 for SharePoint? Probably be pretty similar to that, but you know, everybody's got their own little area that they work in a lot. A little space where they're kind of an expert at. They're really good at this thing. Used to be InfoPath for me and some stuff like that. Custom UI and UX in SharePoint. That was my little niche, right? Like that was Kevin, where you at? Come do this, right? if I had a top 10 that I was going to produce back in the day when I was kind of specifically into that niche, then my top 10 would look a little different. So anyways, Microsoft CEO looks to a future beyond Windows, iOS, and Android. I did check this one out this morning because this was super interesting to me. Did you know that there's an estimated 46 billion devices out there in the world? 46 billion, right? So this post is great, man. This is a great post. Talks a lot about how Windows was sort of, the bread and butter of Microsoft and kind of defined who they were. And so anyways, this reporter was asking Satya, what do you say? What do you think the biggest hardware business at Microsoft is? And one of the reporters just kind of shouted out, Xbox. And then Satya said, no, dude, it's our cloud. And so this whole post talks about how they with all that they are working on building the world's computer. Meaning that you got all these devices, right? The way they say here, you got 50 billion endpoints out there. Windows with its billion is good. Android's got 2 billion. iOS has got about 1 billion. But there are 46 billion more endpoints out there that need to be connected, right? And to communicate and to collaborate and to do all the things that connected devices do. So anyways, he wants to go after those 46 billion, which includes a whole bunch of IoT, I assume, right? But a good post, because he even went on to say, I think Satya said sometimes, hey, look, should I call Windows Azure Edge instead of Windows, right? Because in essence, he says the two teams that work on all the core kernel level and the hardware, the teams are the same. And so he's like, there's no difference between Windows and Azure any longer, because it's really all just a service coming from this hardware that we're building, right, called the Azure services. So anyways, great post. I loved it. I love those kind of talks. One of the things they call out here that Microsoft has to be careful of is being compared to being IBM back in the day, right? Because IBM was kind of that. So they need to tread carefully, he says. But pretty neat, man. I'm really stoked about what Microsoft's doing. I think everybody is, at least that works in that space and probably drinks the Kool-Aid, but I'm excited. All right, so top news story number 4. Microsoft unveils plan to push Bing to Office 365 Pro Plus users. I haven't actually dug into this yet. Have y'all seen that Office 365 Pro Plus users may have Bing pushed to their Chrome and Mozilla Firefox browsers as the default search engine? I don't even think, that doesn't even sound legal, does it? But they unveiled a plan on Tuesday to deliver an extension that's going to change the default search engine to Bing in both Google Chrome and Mozilla Firefox browsers for Office 365 Pro Plus. I don't understand how this move makes any sense. Maybe this post tells us. Let's see, what are they saying? Microsoft's planning a phased switch to Bing Search for the Office 365 Pro Plus subscribers, and it will target the Chrome browser first. A specific version of Office 365 Pro Plus, when it arrives, will trigger the switch, namely version 2002. Okay, definitely has no correlation to the year 2002. It'll affect subscribers to Office 365 Pro Plus, which is Microsoft's productivity suite, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, etc. It's sold on a monthly subscription basis. The timing of the extension also will depend on which Office 365 Pro Plus servicing channel a subscribing organization uses. So followers of the monthly channel, that targeted release update model, could see the extension arrive as early as mid-February. Bing and Switch. So Microsoft claims to have a reason for switching its customers' search engines in their Chrome and Firefox browsers to Bing. Namely, it'll give them access to Microsoft Search. Now, I do love me some Microsoft Search. It really is a cool tool. Here's how that idea was expressed in the document. They said, by making Bing the default search engine, users in your organization with Google Chrome will be able to take advantage of Microsoft Search, including being able to access relevant workplace information directly from the browser address bar. Right? I mean, that's a huge productivity hack. I like that. Just forcing it upon people that Microsoft Search is part of Microsoft 365 and is turned on by default for all Microsoft apps that support it. So anyways, if you don't know, Microsoft Search, they're saying, does pull from information from files, SharePoint sites, OneDrive content, Teams, Yammer conversations, and other shared data sources in your organization, as well as the internet. So that's pretty cool. blocking the extension. You can block the arrival of the extension, but a configuration change needs to be made. It needs to be performed before the ProPlus version 2002 update arrives. You better get on that right now. There's a couple of options here to do that. Negative reaction. Of course there's a negative reaction, right? Everyone freaks out when Microsoft says they're going to enforce upon the masses anything, right? And to me, it kind of goes against the ethos that they've been presenting here lately. But I mean, I understand the benefit of it. It just doesn't seem all open sourcey like they've been. Initial reaction to Microsoft's plans to change that subscribers' search engines in their Chrome and Firefox browsers to Bing appeared to be overwhelmingly negative. They take an antitrust action against Microsoft for this. Yep. Even some of the MVPs at Microsoft are saying some pretty key negative terms there. Crappy, public outrage, don't be evil, blah, blah, blah. Yep. I get it. I get it. I mean, I drink it. I like it. I'll use it. What else we got? Azure misconfiguration exposes 250 million Microsoft customer accounts. What? Say what? All right, let's close that. Oh, what do we got here? Kurt Mackey over at Redmond Channel Partner says, Microsoft warned its users this week that their customer support case information may have been exposed at the end of 2019 due to security misconfigurations in an Azure-hosted database. Boom! That ain't cool. I did see a bunch of this news, but I have not dug into it. So what do we got here? According to Microsoft's investigation, customer data was left unprotected from December 5th, 2019 through December 31st, 2019. Most of that PII in the customer support records was redacted or obscured by automated tools. However, some customer information, if it was slightly off format, got exposed. Microsoft's example of such exposed data is a URL that contained extra spaces. The person credited by Microsoft for discovering that data exposure is Bob Diachenko, who's described in this Comparitech article as being part of the security team at Comparitech, a company that offers reviews of antivirus software, virtual private networks, and online backup services. He notified Microsoft that exposure on December 29th. The next day, on December 30th to the 31st, Microsoft secured the servers and the data, blah, 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 blah. They didn't describe the extent to which that data exposure occurred, but Comparitech's article slated that 250 million customer service and support records were exposed. All of the data was left accessible to anyone with a web browser with no password or other authentication needed. The information could have been used to bolster phishing attacks on Microsoft's customers. Yep. It didn't uncover any malicious use of exposed data so far. However, it's disclosing the issue now to be transparent about this incident with all customers and reassure them that we are taking it very seriously, holding ourselves accountable. You gotta hold yourself accountable, right? You can't get away with just kind of brushing it under the rug anymore. All right, what's next? Google will soon adopt Microsoft's Chromium battery life improvement tricks. I think it's pretty neat, right? Microsoft moved in, got Edge browser with Chromium-based Edge browser, and now Google's adopting some of the changes Microsoft's made, which I think is great. I don't think they should have this competing, I don't know. I like it that they're contributing to the same, solution here. Somewhat of the same solution. Microsoft's long-touted long battery life as an advantage of the Edge browser, and when they adopted the Chromium rendering engine, they submitted many of their tricks and techniques to the Chromium open source project. Now, it appears the improvements may actually be adopted. Google Chrome engineer Chrome Cunningham confirming that Google's plans to implement the improvements in Chrome and test them in practice. Who's this coming from? Surur? What is this site called? MSPoweruser. The next related one is to check if a computer is... Oh, what do we got here? The improvements in particular are set to make it to Chrome. One is to eliminate unnecessary disk caching when watching video by caching to RAM instead, thereby keeping the disk idle for longer and saving battery life. The next related one is to check if a computer is plugged in or on battery, which allows the browser to use the more complex battery-saving techniques. The last is to compare the HTTP response content size to the backend maximum file size and not cache the content when size is larger than a maximum file size. Okay. Yep, there's some. So anyways, sharing some love across the two, right? That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, around the blogosphere. Here we go. This talking about those blog posts out there from the evangelists, the MVPs, the guys doing the work, trying to give you some tips and some tutorials. What do we got in here today? New Office 365 Cloud Part products coming in February. That's just me. That's just us. Got a new blog post up on the blog there by Mr. Rob Manfredi. Come check this out. New Office 365 Cloud Parts coming. What do we got in here? We got settings for KPI Cloud Part. Got KPI Cloud Part coming out. We got Navigator coming out. Oh yeah. Come get some. Come check this post out. We got a bunch of stuff, bunch of info, new products. I like it. KPI has been around a while. KPI column has been a product on our on-prem side for a long time, but we got that converted over to a JavaScript-based solution that works in SharePoint Online and SharePoint On-prem. Just JavaScript-based now instead of C#.NET stuff. All right, what else we got? SharePoint Maven. Who doesn't love a SharePoint Maven article? How to make any SharePoint page the new homepage. I just did this week, actually. Pretty cool stuff. So, if you created new pages in your SharePoint site, some might be so wonderful and great looking, they become a great candidate for being the homepage, right? That's what this process is about. So, a homepage is the default page of a site. It is a default page that the site renders when you type in a site address. For example, if you go to an address /site/HR, it'll load the one page that is set as the homepage on the site. So on modern sites like communication and 365 group sites, he's saying it does not show it in the URL. But if you still have classic sites, you might see site pages /home actual page ending, right? What's he saying now? How to make any SharePoint page the new homepage. All right. So how do you make the classic wiki page the new homepage? Good question. Why would you do that? I don't know why you do that. You will now get a brief pop-up confirming that the page has just become the new homepage. Okay. Make homepage. An option right there in the ribbon. See it? All right, so then how to make a modern page the new homepage? You got to go to the gear icon, go to site contents, go to site pages, get that contextual menu to pop up on the page you're talking about, and click make a homepage. Not quite the article I was thinking in my head, but this is good too. This is good stuff. I was thinking the PowerShell route, you know, doing site swapping and setting as the home site. That's what I was doing. It's confusing the home site. All right, so what else we got here? Microsoft, latest SharePoint Dev Weekly. Always good posts coming out of this. So you got Yannick and Waldick and Veza. How do you say his name? I always screw it up. I need to watch more videos where they do the introduction just so I can remember. But here's the link. Let's see here. They always put the details down there, which is great. The video's there, though. Go check that out. It's good stuff. It's on my calendar. It should be on yours, too. Here are all the links people mentioned in the recording, so let's just kind of check them out. What do we got here? Creating single sign-on add-ins for Office has never been easier. That's probably a cool one. 1 part solution, 2 parts inspiration. Oh, yeah. Microsoft going to be carbon negative by 2030. What? Yeah. My boy Lucas Dowd looked at that on LinkedIn the other day. It's the first time I saw the news about that. It's cool stuff. What else we got? Reporting and deleting orphan SharePoint redirect sites. You might need that. Anything else to call out here? Add SharePoint site to Teams personal app. That'd be interesting. Creating a Microsoft Teams app, how easy is it? Cool. Yeah, good post there. Always a good post on that. That's a weekly, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's a weekly. Yep, Dev Weekly. SharePoint calendar color overlay, hexadecimal. Wait, what? So what do we got here from SP Jeff? He says, quick reference below for the 7 Microsoft calendar overlay colors available in SharePoint Online as of January 19th, 2020. The user voice community has requested the ability to add custom colors, but not yet implemented. So upvote if you like it. So here's a link. Go up there and upvote that. Let's get it in the forefront of things and get that changed. Notes on how to create calendar overlay are here on that link. So there's your basic colors, it looks like. And yeah. Got the hexadecimal codes there. What are people saying? Interesting. There are 2 dark teals listed, but different hex values. Mistake? Or pie? Yes. Gotcha. All right. SharePoint custom metadata and event-based retention. Woohoo. Who's this? Joanne. All right. Let's see what she says. SharePoint custom metadata and event-based retention. So previously blogged about event-based retention and how you can use the automatically generated compliance asset ID column to set a unique ID for a set of documents. There it is, the link to it. It's called Automate Compliance Asset ID on SharePoint Doc. This pre-configured unique identifier can be a project number, a student number, a patient number. The compliance asset ID is visible on a library when an event-based retention label has been associated to the library. So here's an example, she says. What if you wanted to use the compliance asset ID, but instead leverage on an existing piece of custom metadata you already have? You can do this. To demonstrate, create the home for the records. So create a SharePoint site to house the content you want, to store the event-based content in. To be clear, this can be any kind of SharePoint site. Okay, there we go. Step 2, create the event type. So all events must be associated within an event type. The type of event is in turn associated with a retention label to drive the retention. So the event type has no settings other than a name and a description. It's really just used to associate an event with a retention label. So for the legal case file, I created a case settled event type. Changing that song. Create the event-based retention label. So yeah, I'm not going to go into detail, but here you go. Problem solved. Explanation provided. Get some of that if you're into the event-based retention and custom metadata type of stuff. Thank you, Joanne. Here we go from Elio Struff. Using Cypress for end-to-end testing your SharePoint solutions. Probably won't go into this one too much detail too, because you know, it's a little technical. But last year, what's his first name? Where's your name, bro? Elio, sorry. Last year, I already wrote an article about how you could implement visual UI tests for the SharePoint solutions by using Puppeteer in combination with Jest. Still use these tools for setting up various UI tests in our products, but a couple of months ago, a tool called Cypress caught my attention. So here you go. Cypress is a proven end-to-end testing framework that many React and Angular applications, also other types, of course, are using. The tool itself wants to create a fast, easy, and reliable testing framework that runs within a browser. So the power is that it provides you all the tools required with a minimal amount of configuration. There we go. Does it work with SharePoint? Short answer is no. So you got to do some special stuff, I'm assuming. You got to, how do you solve the authentication issue? You got to do this stuff. Show me some code. Once that's in place, you can start writing your test. So it looks like you got you a nice little browser tool there. Shows you your tests. Limitations, not to forget, there currently is one major limitation when using Cypress for EDE testing your SharePoint solutions, and that limitation involves that you do not have access to the SharePoint command bar. So due to this, you cannot verify the whole page flow, but also you will not be able to edit the page and your web part. The reason is that the SharePoint checks if it runs in an iframe. When it does, it will not render those specific controls. Might not be a problem, but yeah, it's there. So pretty cool. He's got a, looks like a GitHub repository here for you. So if you're interested in checking out Cypress for your EDE testing, boom. Get some of that hot stuff. All right, copy and move SharePoint documents, folders, documents and folders using PnP.js. This is very useful. So is it from SharePoint to SharePoint? Let's see what he's got here. This is coming from Joel Rodriguez over at 365 Addiction. The latest release of PnP.js contains 4 new methods that allow you to copy and move files and folders to a different folder on the same or different site collection. They are incredibly fast. Cool. So he's been recently asked by a client to develop a feature replacement to the default SharePoint copy and move. I actually looked at this Wednesday on the stream. Yeah, so he's got a nice solution here to moving or copying documents instead with some added functionality. Okay, second to last. Incremental refresh for files in a folder or SharePoint. Power BI. What do we got? Coming from Powered Solutions, Miguel. He says, a few years ago, I posted my first impressions on Power BI Incremental Refresh that was only made available for Power BI premium licenses. The whole idea of incremental refresh is superb. You only refresh the data that you need. It's great. Low latency, right? Never again a full refresh needs to take place. It takes your data source it makes your data source work less. So you won't be hitting your data source with expensive queries that take a long time to execute and load, and then highway to insights. You don't have to wait those long hours just for your data set to refresh. This scenario, imagine that we have a folder that has subfolders, one subfolder for every year, and inside those yearly folders we have the data for each of those years. It looks like this. What we want to do is connect to the folder and then set up an incremental refresh logic. So we only refresh the data for the current year, or in other words, only get new data. Keep the data from previous years to be intact. That's cool. That's cool. Solution, taking advantage of query folding and lazy evaluation. Interesting stuff there. So if you're working with some Power BI and you're looking for a way to maybe optimize those queries and incremental refresh capabilities for files and folders in SharePoint, go for it. There you go from Miguel. Last but not least, SharePoint SPFX extension, advanced copy and move. Is this similar to what we just looked at? So still talking about over here with Joel. This is a little different. A client recently asked me to create an advanced version of the default copy too. So what's the advanced versus the other? Some of the limitations were slow performance. This is out of the box. I think he's calling out limitations too. There's no option to filter and search a large list of folders, no target location, limited space size. The requirements were look and feel should not be very different from out of the box. It should provide better performance, should provide an option to filter, and then when copying or moving documents, the default location should be set to the current folder, as users were often copying, moving documents to folders related to the current location. Okay. So yeah, this one's more advanced. So anyways, if you're looking for solutions, look at that. I love these around the blogosphere articles because solutions galore live in there. Solution, solution, solution. There you go. Alrighty, SharePoint events, and then we're done. It's Friday. Friday. All right, SharePoint events. We got a bunch of, I keep saying we got a bunch of SharePoint Saturdays, but you know what? There are all kinds of new Saturdays now. You got Office 365 Saturdays. You got Microsoft 365 Fridays. Weird. Cool. We're going to have one every day of the week. You're going to have something to do. So anyways, SharePoint Saturdays, I'll go off those first because those are the most common that I've attended. I've never done an Office 365 or a Microsoft 365. But we got it coming up February 1st in St. Louis, SharePoint Saturday. In Chennai, February 8th. Cairo, February 15th. We got Bremen, February 28th through the 29th. A two-dayer. It's awesome. What else we got? Sacramento, March 21st. Omaha, March 21st. And then for our Office 365 Saturday, you got one in San Diego, January 25th. Let's take a look at that. I mean, it's a neat idea, right? Expanding upon the SharePoint Saturday concept to the whole family of products there. That's kicking off in 11 hours? What? Oh, that's till... Okay, yeah, kicking off in 11 hours. Any details here? I'd be interested in seeing what kind of sessions are going on an Office 365 Saturday. You got the keynote being from Heather Newman, Humans in Tech, Building Healthy Corporate Culture, Leveraging Office 365. That's cool. Creating your first bot, experiencing Microsoft Security hands-on. Microsoft Project Server Then and Now, Rethinking Internet Navigation, Hub Sites in the Modern World, Administration, Apps to Empower, Best Practices. Case study on successful large-scale compliance-driven digital transformation. That's a mouthful. One unique viewer. That's funny. I want to see that one just because it sounds like you got a sense of humor. Microsoft Teams public and private channels, preparing for Project Cortex. I can't wait for that. Oh, that's Joel Olson. Nice, dude. He's throwing down at the party, huh? Got David Warner showing up too. Rob Windsor. Holy crap, man. How'd you guys end up with the freaking lineup like that? Dang. I'm jealous. Hugo's going to be there. Man, that's going to be a good one. So if you're in San Diego, dude, you got to show up. Good one. Is there a price associated with these Office 365 versions of SharePoint Saturdays? No. Schedule, about, venue, register. Let's see. Nope, $0. I'm telling you, you got to go. It'd be so fun. I wish I could go. Of course, I ain't probably not gonna go spend $700 on a plane ticket to go to a Office 365 Saturday. It's free. Microsoft 365 Friday coming up February 8th, Salt Lake City. Let's see what that one looks like. Same site. They're all using the spsevents.org. If you're curious, you could go there and check them all out. Where's that? The 8th, right? In Chicago? What it was? Checking. Just checking. Salt Lake City. But there's one in Chicago too. In a month. This is their 8th M365 Power Platform Chicago Suburbs event. Interesting. Next song. Sessions. See what kind of stuff they're talking about here. It's got to be all very similar, I assume. Using Powder Automate, end-to-end data protection. Okay, I like that. I do like they're getting security. Okay, enterprise digital transformation on the Power Platform. Getting started with site designs, getting the best performance out of your SharePoint Online site. That'd be a good one to know. Go to. Learning pathways. I dig that. Whiteboard. Just in Teams meetings. Yeah, I like it. Power BI, Project Cortex. So some overlap there. SPFX automated deployments, the elephant in the room, an intro to Office 365. Cool stuff there too. So anyways, first time I've dug into those to see what's in Office 365 Saturdays and Microsoft 365 Fridays and SharePoint Saturdays, what the difference is. Yeah, you got that one in Chicago on February 29th, and then you got one February 8th in Salt Lake City. Then we got SB TechCon in San Fran. We're going to be there. I say it every week, so if you haven't heard it yet, we're going to be there. If you're going to go, you should come shake Rob's hand. He's going to be there with some little baby pandas and some stuff to hand out, maybe. Some beanies. So come check those out and get some. SharePoint Fest DC, April 13th through the 17th, August 24th through the 28th in Seattle. Oh. All right. Cheers. Here's to a good Friday. Have a great weekend. I hope it's fulfilling and satisfying and wholesome. And yeah, spend those 2 days getting what you want out of life. Beanies! All right. Rob says we're having beanies at SP TechCon, so come get one. I got mine up there in the background, but gotta get yours. All right, y'all. Thank y'all. Y'all have a great one. We will see you on Wednesday next week for our webinar prep stream. We'll do a little SharePoint news on Twitter. We'll hashtag SharePoint. Come check out our blog. Got some new stuff going on there. And then Thursday, I'll have the details for that potential webinar on Thursday during the Wednesday live stream. So talk to y'all then. Have a great weekend. Like I said, peace out. SharePoint on.
Trying to keep my cool.